If you are having trouble trading in the Settlers of Catan, that's not good news, because the game of Catan is won or lost by trades. Or said another way, those who win more often are those making better trades. Trading is a heavily discussed topic in Catan, and you'll find hundreds of articles about trading, and in doing so see hundreds of ways that people go about it, but ain't nobody got time for that. Instead, I've condensed all the ideas people have about trading into the most commonly recommended best practices and stuffed them all into this handy dandy reference card, which you can download to your phone to reference during a game of Catan. Link in the description below. It's like a cheat sheet with carefully titled concepts that will help you remember what to pay attention to when trading. The titles will make sense as we go through the video, and by the end of it, you'll be able to remember the concepts at a glance. And although this video won't win you any tournaments, it will put you well above average when it comes to thinking about trading. Concept 1. Trading matters. If you aren't trading, then you aren't winning. Period. And that's simply because players that are trading are gaining more access to more of the resources they want. Meanwhile, you're sitting there waiting for the dice to be nice. Trading is super duper important, especially in the early game when resources are scarce and the players that build the quickest grow the quickest. And a lot of it comes down to politics. The more you scratch each other's backs, the more likely you'll continue to do so later, and conversely, the more you make antagonizing trades where you piss someone off, the less likely they will trade you again later. Remember, trading is one of the best ways to get additional and inaccessible resources throughout the game, and if you play your cards right, you can get consistent 2-to-1 trades. Concept 2. Trade for game objectives. The first thing on your mind when making a trade is whether it's progressing your game objective. Are you trying to build roads to expand, or are you trying to upgrade settlements to cities? Whatever it is, you need to focus on those resources. Even if you're getting 2-for-1 cards in a trade, if those 2 cards are useless to your objective, you just gave your opponent a card that's useful to them. Always keep in mind what your next objective is and trade accordingly, and at the same time, this means you know what resources you don't need and can trade away those to get the ones you want. Hoarding won't help you. Trying to accomplish too many goals at once will only slow you down. Meanwhile, another player is focusing on completing one task at a time. One road, one settlement, one city, and is now generating more resources. Know your game objective first, then trade. Concept 3. Value check. When you're making a trade, you'll want to know how each player values the cards being discussed, but sometimes that's not obvious, so let's start by making a baseline of what resources are objectively valuable in your game. Starting with the number of dots for each resource on the board, you'll want to count these at the very start of the game, and then keep a mental note of which resources are scarce and abundant, and rank them from the most scarce to the least. Then you'll want to give ore and wheat a slight bump in value just because of their intrinsic value to the overall game. That's objective value. Now let's get subjective. If you notice the person you are trading is trying to build a city, then they are that much more eager to get that ore from you, and so you should assign more value to your card. And the best way to do that is to notice any excess cards in their hand that is more than what they need to build that city. Those excess cards are easy pickings for 2-to-1 or even 3-to-1 deals. You should also consider whose turn it is. A trade is far more valuable to the person whose turn it is, as they can immediately act on the trade. And as such, if you're trading someone a card on their turn, you should assign more value to your card. If the calculated value of your card is hitting a lot of these check marks, then you shouldn't hesitate to ask for 2 or even 3 cards in return. It's useful to remind them how valuable your card is for them to achieve their objective. Concept 4. Trade in your turn and terms. Ideally, you should be trading on your turn because it gives you a lot more options, the biggest being that you can build on your turn. Another reason is that you are a hub for trades, which means that because you're the only person everyone can trade with, you can be the middleman when other players are trying to trade each other. But remember, you don't want to be a hub for helping other people complete their objectives, so only propose and accept trades that progress your goals. Proposing a trade is a lot harder than accepting someone else's trade, because proposing immediately implies that you are the one looking for something. So instead, you should treat it as a friendly suggestion. Hey Ken, if you're trying to build a road there, I have a brick you can use if you'd like. This is the bread and butter approach to trade proposals. You choose a specific player, you address them by name to establish a good relationship, you have already assessed their needs and are directly addressing them, and you present a resource that is useful to them without specifying the price of that resource. Then you give them a moment to consider. Meanwhile, you should have a sense of how much that brick is worth to them. You either get a minimum of 2 cards or 1 really useful card. Otherwise, why trade? Trading should always be a win-lose in your favor or a win-win situation. Rarely should you accept a lose-win trade. Now, if they're taking too much time to consider, move on to the next player and offer them the same thing in their context. Hey Haley, I have a brick you can use to finish your settlement if you'd like. Ideally, you want to cause a bidding war over your resource. This is not always possible, but something you want to look for as it can secure you at least 2 cards in the deal. When proposing, you should first ask the person you think is most likely to have the card you want, and then make your way around the table. And if someone bites, you can say, I can give you the brick for an ore and a throwaway card. A throwaway card is any card that is not important for them to complete their immediate objective, and thus more expendable. Also notice we didn't call it an extra card, as that implies they're giving away too much. If a bidding war ensues, start by raising the price, both by the number of cards or the specific cards you are looking for. Always prioritize the cards you are looking for over the number of cards. If a bidding war doesn't start or go well, you can reluctantly bring out the big guns. And I mean reluctantly. I was hoping we can do a trade deal because I don't want to use a knight to steal from you. This might change their mind, but if not, always follow through with your threat and knight them. Just don't present it as a threat. Encourage them again by reminding them that the knight will stop them from getting a lot of resources and that this trade would just make things easier. This should be a last resort as it will antagonize the player and make trading harder with them later. Let's talk ports real quick. If you have a 2-to-1 port, you can use it on your turn to trade with other players. If someone wants to use my sheep port, you can give me 2 sheep and an ore for whatever card you want. This is assuming you are looking for ore. This basically has your opponent pay for the cost of your sheep port and both of you get a resource you want. Just be careful to check who is getting the better side of this deal. If they are, you can suggest 2 sheep and ore and a throwaway card to balance the deal. This is still easier for them than trying to trade 4 of a kind to the bank. As a side note, try to prioritize trades with people that are losing, as they are less of a threat to you. And if deals with them don't go well, it's not a big deal. Oh, and after a successful trade, leave a positive review on the trade with the player. This encourages smoother, future trading and suddenly builds a sense of alliance. And if nothing else, remember this. The most important part of trading is knowing what is important to the other player. If a player is lacking in wood, and they are in a race for the longest road, they will pay more for wood. If a player has a 2-to-1 port and easy access to resources, then it is much harder to trade with them. And if a player publicly announces, all I need is a wheat, then they are easy pickings for good deals. Concept 5. Trade denial. Now as your turn ends, so does your incentive to trade, but not completely. Now is the time to get defensive. If another player is racing you to a settlement position that you consider important, then you must deny them getting the trades they want to make that happen, even if it means you do a lose-win trade. It's okay to give away cards to do this because board position is more important than losing a card or 2. Besides, your turn just ended, which means you have several more turns of dice rolls to get some more cards back. Keep an eye on the players who are a threat to your board position and what cards they are looking for. If an offer comes up with those resources, be the first to reply so that you get first dibs. You can respond with a quick, "Oh, you're trading brick?" and then wait and see if the opponent tries to interject. If they do, immediately give the person who proposed the trade a better offer, like a 2-to-1 with throwaway cards, to stop your opponent from getting that resource. Even if they don't take the trade, the price of the trade has now increased and will cost your opponent more to get that resource from them. And finally, collusion trading. If a competitor is a threat to your board position, then you need to find their competitor and be an ally to them. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, sort of thing. Concept 6. Being offered trades. If someone directly proposes a trade with you on their turn, it's okay to say no if it's not appealing to you, but frame it as a yes. Yeah, for sure, we can do that on my turn. This allows you more options as your turn comes around, and you may not need to trade them after all. If someone directly proposes a trade with you on their turn, like my wood for your wheat, and that wood is a card you want to quickly reply with something like, "That sounds good, what are you going to do with that wheat?" This puts them on the back foot and now they must answer to you. They have already stated their want for wheat. Now it is a matter of how valuable that wheat is to them compared to how valuable the wood is to you. Don't be too combative about trades because you want people to be open to trading with you, and you won't always get the perfect trade. Concept 7. Handshake Trades. This is an assortment of trading ideas that you can use as trading incentives. None of these are in the rules and are more of a handshake agreement, but you should use them sparingly and wisely as they could be potentially diplomatic disasters. But they can also be strong incentives if you really need to secure a trade. These are especially good early in the game when resources are scarce and you need to secure early trades. For example, in addition to the brick, I can also promise to move the robber off of you the next time I knight or roll a 7. I can also promise I won't robber or knight you the next time I knight or roll a 7. I can also promise to trade you a bonus card the next time we trade. I can also promise to not trade Ken so that he can't build a road there. I can also promise I will build away from you if you give me that wood. I can also promise to let you use my port for cheap for the rest of the game. And so on. If you have ideas for handshake trades, be sure to share them in the comments. Concept 8. Game-winning trades. The closer you are to winning the game, the harder it is for you to get favorable trades, and as such, you should expect to have more lose-win trades as long as it helps you achieve your objectives. Don't fall for desperation traps. The closer you get to winning, the more anxious you get, and you might take a deal without realizing the consequences of that deal. Cards are in abundance at this point, and circulation might be wild and crazy, or completely dead. Either way, pay close attention to what you need to win. What is the least number of resources needed to secure a victory? And what are they exactly? Everything else is a throwaway resource that you can trade to get that final resource you need to get a victory point. Now this might seem like a lot, but it's not something you have to memorize. It's more of an awareness game. Are you aware of your next objective? Are you aware of the value of the resources in play? Are you aware of what your opponent is going for? Keep these in mind when you're trading and the game will play out in your favor. Unlike dice rolls, am I right? The dice in Catan are notorious for never landing on your numbers, and that's annoying to a lot of players. Watch this video for a bunch of fun and interesting ideas on how to fix the randomness in Catan. Until next time, happy trading.